Welcome to Agora by Give Something Back to Berlin. In this podcast series, we'll be finding out how migration has changed our urban landscape and exchange ideas with those who are making a difference. Join us while we tackle issues ranging from human rights and diversity to migrant identity and belonging. Hello everyone, and welcome to Agora podcast. I'm Gaby D'Annunzio, your host, and I'm joined by Ben Osborn, who is the co-founder of the Open Music Lab, which is part of the Give Something Back to Berlin community. And funny enough, I am also the co-founder of the Open Music Lab, so I'm really excited to be chatting to Ben today. Let's start off by talking about you. You are a brilliant composer, songwriter, lyricist from the UK. So I was wondering, what brought you to Berlin and how being in Berlin has influenced your creative practice.
Thank you, Gaby. That's very nice of you to say that I'm brilliant.
You are.
It's a good way to start an interview. So I was working mostly doing music for theatre in the UK for about 10 years or so. And came to Berlin, I came in 2016, and I think there was a feeling in the air already at that time in the UK that things were slightly closing off. I came just before the Brexit referendum, which obviously kind of polarized that and made that really clear as well, that there was this kind of movement in the UK to slightly close things off. So I think even before the referendum, there was that feeling a little bit. I had been working really hard, not getting paid very much, and not really exploring my own music. So Berlin was a place to do that. I also had been working as an activist in the UK. I'd been part of the Hope Not Hate anti-fascist campaign, and also worked for a trade union. But they were like separate parts of my life. There was music and activism. So when I got to Berlin, there was this feeling of like, oh, you can kind of, there's a different way of doing things somehow. There's a kind of idea of open communities where you can make your art in a activist context, or you can really have a bit of space to find out who you are as an artist, and that was really appealing.
So really bringing your two fields together.
Yeah. That ended up being the thing for me in Berlin, and that's a big part. That's really what that's what Open Music Lab came to represent for me personally as well. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about how the Open Music Lab came about and what the community culture is like?
Yeah, so it came about. We're right now on the roof of Refugio, and it came about initially downstairs in the same building. So it's really great to be talking to you here. It was 2016, and I had just arrived in Berlin. I'd been here for a few months, and I wanted to find ways to give back to the community of newcomers to the city, because there were a lot of people arriving particularly from Syria and Iraq at that time, I think. I found out about Gizzie Back to Berlin, went on their website and saw there was an ad for musicians, come meet up, we're going to start a music school. So I came here and met Tom, who is still running the music school today. We had a meeting of all these different musicians, and everyone was writing down what instrument they could teach, and probably the two instruments I could teach are guitar and piano, and everyone in the room had written guitar or piano. So it kind of got to me, and I was like, I have to think, there must be something different I can do. And I thought, okay, well, I'm actually a composer, and I'm producing my own music, and that's such an important skill to learn how to make your own thing, find out what you want to say. And in this city that's so full of artists and so full of electronic music that doesn't really come from traditional instruments, maybe this is something. So I wrote down production, composition, and it was really clear. There was just oh yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah,
Tom was really enthusiastic, but then we realized actually it was kind of tricky. You need a certain set of skills to teach this. You need to get people familiar with some technology. You need a different kind of space in a way. You can't kind of sit with like you could with a guitar and say, okay, put your finger here and play. Slightly different
skills.
Yeah, slightly different skills you need to make that happen. So I met with Rachel Margetts, who is the producer Your Lovely Dead Moon, and with Chad Matheny, who's the producer Emperor X, both really brilliant artists, and we had the first kind of few workshops together in trying these ideas out initially in the Donau 115, this jazz bar. And at the same time, I guess you were making workshops as well. You were doing Music Unite, so that was a really cool thing, because I mean, you found us initially, but you'd had pretty much the same idea.
Yeah, totally.
And then our two kind of projects merged. What had been the Open Music Lab and Music Unite became this new Open Music Lab, and that's what it is today. I guess it's this, so this, and you said the second question was, or the second part of the question was the community.
Yeah, what's the feel of the community?
Yeah, I mean, what the Open Music Lab is, it's a space where anyone can learn to create their own music. So, and it has a particular idea of welcoming people who, for various reasons, might not have felt welcome in other music settings or other music education settings. So particularly like people coming from a refugee background or coming from a community that's been marginalized in some way in Europe in general or in the music scene in particular. What that leads to is it's a really interesting kind of learning space, because people come and share their knowledge. Like some of them are just big music lovers who just want to share something they love, and some of them are people who are really very successful, impressive DJs, producers, musicians, people like Marianne Hobbs from BBC Radio 6 Music has done some workshops. Nathan McKay, Sarah Farina, all these people who I'm a big fan of, and it's amazing they want to come and do something. So but other people are just more people who are just coming from their love of it and want to share this thing. They're a nerd about this thing and they want to share it, and it's amazing. And it means there's a really it's a really non-hierarchical space. Everyone's just, you don't really know what you're going to get. People from all around the world are going to be there, people from all different levels, but you're going to be coming from a community feeling. It's not going to be listen to this brilliant teacher, oh, they're so amazing. It's more let's learn together, let's do this together. And that's,
creating this sort of supportive, caring space where you can create music. Because
exactly.
Of course, music can often feel very exclusive and intimidating sometimes, and there's often high costs involved with that as well.
Totally,
so what is it that's important for students to be able to come and learn in this space which is supportive and free?
Yeah, that's really, really key, that it's supportive and free. And by supportive we mean not just the workshop, but everything else. We're trying to build, or I hope we are building, a lasting community. So there's people who have been coming to our workshops for a long time, but also we know what they're doing outside of that. We're in touch with them, and we're trying to help them find opportunities to perform, or give them a dedicated expert to listen to what they're making, so they can feel supported and get good feedback and get help taking things to the next level. But in terms of the free aspect, I mean, this is really key, because it can be, education can be really expensive. Also, software is really expensive. So we have wonderful donation from Ableton that they give us licenses to use, so we can teach using their software, which is really the kind of industry standard software for electronic music, and it's really fun to use as well. And we also try and teach people to to find their own way of doing things. We also show them free software they can use as well. So we try and get them to the point where they're empowered to just do everything themselves. They're not going to need anything other than the equipment they have, the skills they've learned, the community they have to listen, and their own ideas.
Yeah, and I think we've both been lucky in the fact that we've seen some students come to the music school and really grow and shine and build their confidence with music. And I'm wondering if you could share any success stories from our community.
It's such a nice question, because there are a lot of people from our community who we saw go from being quite uncertain about their music, or maybe never having finished a track, to now being really active. I I think particularly we have this one longer course, the 8-month course, where we help a group of learners with every aspect of creating their own music and also like developing themselves as an artist. And we're seeing like people who did that course last year, like the producers like Mink and Morfena, both brilliant producers who everyone should check out.
Yeah.
And they also are now like, they're making tracks all the time. They're doing like Mink is doing soundtrack to a podcast. They're doing like radio shows, and they've come back to mentor the next this year's learners. So this is like really amazing because you can see they've got the confidence to also share what they've learned. It's just like the dream of what we're doing, I think.
And giving back, and it sort of completes the cycle. And I mean, that's just so wonderful that they can actually like contribute back to the music school. Yeah. And obviously the pandemic has changed the way that, you know, we can operate and do stuff at the Open Music Lab. So I'm wondering if you could share with us, you know, how you manage that and what lessons you've learned from running the music school through that.
I think anyone involved in anything community related has had a really, you know, has faced some really big challenges over the last, how long has it been? I'm not even sure at this point. Year and a half, I think we're close. And now you know, touch wood, things are like starting to open again, and that's really exciting, but it has been really hard. But I think what was really brilliant is that we developed our online community. We found new ways to be in touch with people. Like we ran online sessions. We worked on like making our social media presence bigger and kind of using it to share lots of interesting ideas, like creative ideas and also activist projects. And we also use this time to release music. We've started our own label, so we released the first compilation from Open Music Lab. So this is actually, we found like lots of interesting things to do, and we've created a model for online workshops, like sometimes live stream, sometimes over video call. It's definitely like there's been times it's really worked and times it's been harder, but I think overall what we found is you can do it. You can really like give people a community feeling. You just have to like really try and find ways to find out how they're doing. You know, you have to be open to feedback. You have to like listen when people say, I can't follow it like this, or like this is too fast for me or too slow for me or something, you know. You have to be open to that, otherwise it's just someone talking in front of their computer and you don't know, like you're sending it into the darkness.
I think it's also like a period of time where you can really ask your community to give you feedback and and learn from them as well. Yeah,
and actually, amazingly, I think our community has grown in this time. You know, it could easily have shrunk, but we all took the effort to, you know, you as well, of course, like you put so much effort into this, like to keeping it alive and keeping it present and keeping supporting people in meaningful ways. And actually, that's meant there's a new kind of generation. I don't know how to say that.
Open Music Lab generation, new one,
generation coming in, and all the time it's growing, and we get like, you know, messages from people being like, hey, I'm a producer. This is my situation. Like maybe they're in a refugee home and they're like, I want to make a hip hop record. It's like, okay. Yeah. Talk to us. Let's see. Maybe we can, you know, let's find a workshop for you. Let's find a producer to work with you. You know, it's like, and that's really cool. That's a really exciting thing that we've done in this time. Yeah, definitely. We've learned how to connect to our community in a different way and grow it. In fact. Yeah. So what are your hopes and dreams for the future of the Open Music Lab? How do you see it sort of moving forwards outside of, you know, the pandemic and being able to meet in person? Yeah, it's really, it's actually a really exciting moment for us. Our team has been growing a little bit. So as well as you and me, there's Ophelie Kaufman, who's absolutely brilliant, coming from the world of booking a little bit. So she has a really great perspective on artist development, and I'm really excited about her being like a permanent member of our team as well. And we're also finding other people from various parts of the music world who are supporting us in various ways right now, and we're really like focusing on expanding in that way. And that's really cool. So I think we're in a position to make this even more effective in supporting people. I mean, in terms of like my hopes and dreams for it, as well as like, because we have some great plans already, you know, that will happen, whether I dream of them or not. Like, we have another release coming up this year and another one next year. We have courses, like lots of different courses running. But I dream of being able to reach more people and also support people in supporting other people. Like, you know, I dream of like us being able to take our model to partners, you know, in like who are like, we want to do this in another city. Like, I dream of us being able to go and be like, okay, here's how you set up an open music lab in your city or in your house or whatever, you know, and like it being something that can be shared even more in this way.
Sharing that knowledge and because there should be an open music lab in every city.
In every home.
So you're going to be doing a performance for us later with Kimia, who is one of our students on the 8-month course. I was wondering if you could just tell us a little bit more about what we're going to hear and what we can expect. Yeah,
I'm really, really excited about this. It's completely new. Kimia Bani, she's an Iranian percussionist, like a very like celebrated Iranian percussionist. So it's very exciting for me to get to play with her. We met as part of another community organization called Miglum, and now she's been doing, she's done the beginner's course at Open Music Lab learning production, and now she's doing the 8-month course, so she's starting to develop her own tracks using electronic music. But she comes from a background of like classical Iranian percussion, which is just an astonishing like world of sounds. So we're going to try something really new. We're going to do a kind of structured improvisation using sounds and samples from her instruments and with me playing electronics, building some kind of harmonies and rhythms around her sounds.
Great, I can't wait.
Me neither.
And finally, what does giving back mean to you, Ben?
Yeah, it's a really great question, and I think anyone who's involved in this community gives something back to Berlin. Like, we must have those moments where we go, I'm giving something back, but what am I giving back? Or what did I get in the first place that I can give it back? And, it's like almost a cliche in the Jewish community, but there's this phrase tikkun olam, which means like repairing the world, kind of means that. Repairing the universe, maybe. And I think it means like, you know, there's a better version of the world, and you don't have to like build that whole thing. You can just like fix a bit of it. You can add your bit of it, and other people are going to be doing this as well. You know, we're all going to be like, you're going to come together and you're going to build this better version of the world, which it kind of should have always been like, you know, it's an act of repairing as well as building. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed chatting to you in this format. And thank you to our listeners. I really hope you join us next time.
I'm here at Refugio with Kimia Bani, and we're going to play a new structured improvisation for you.